And it is now my absolute pleasure to introduce our very special guest to you this morning. And we are thrilled and privileged, Caren, to have you come and talk to us this morning. Feel extremely, extremely welcome. And let's appreciate her with a real Riara. Whoa!
The founding directors of the Riara group of schools, Daniel Gashukia, Professor Eda Gashukia, Alan Gashukia, Juju Gashukia, Tony Gashukia, and Suzanne Gashukia in absentia. Invited guests, management team of the Riara group of schools, and teachers and every other person who is here. Good morning.
Good morning.
I am so profoundly delighted to just join you today and be here in your presence to celebrate you teachers. You are the most important component in any society. Now, I'd like for you to just take a minute and imagine with me, what would Kenya be without teachers?
Lost.
Just imagine that kind of a society. A nation without teachers. Now, whenever I have conversations with pupils, students, professionals, and other groups of people that I get to meet, and I ask them the question, who is your role model? Many of them mention names, I'm sure, like many of us in this room would. Names such as Nelson Mandela, Barack Obama, Margaret Kenyatta. Who else would you mention? Gracia Machel, Eda Gashukia. Who else? Daniel Gashukia. And many of those names, so amazing of leaders and just impactful figures in our history as a country and as a continent and even globally. But then, like Guy Kawasaki put it, if you have to put anyone on a pedestal, it has to be teachers. That is not to take away from those heroes we've just mentioned, no. It is because teachers change the world one day at a time, one child at a time. And teachers have the ability to influence and shape generations, not just one child or two children or 30, 40, it's generations of children in a very, very transformational way. And so today, I am so happy to join you in just celebrating you teachers, the superheroes of our society, the unsung heroes. So let's just put our hands together and appreciate all the teachers. So please allow me to remind you that you aren't just teaching your current students, but everybody else those students will ever encounter to teach and to interact with. You are influencing those other people, not just your students. A number of years ago, I joined University of Nairobi to pursue my master's degree program in international relations. And there was this professor who was teaching international relations of African nations, Professor Maria Nzomo. She'd, at the end of the class, she'd say, I need you guys to go watch news, read papers, go online and find out what's happening in the world. And then do an analysis of how whatever is happening in the world is affecting Kenya and how what is happening in Kenya is going to affect the world. And we'd get to class and do analysis and brainstorm and have debates, and those were some of the most amazing moments for me. And I'd go back home in the matatu, my mind would be like, no, I should have said this, or this idea was better than that one, and stuff like that. Then I'd get to bed to sleep, but then like in the middle of the night, ideas would come and I'd be unable to sleep. I'd say, you know what, wake up, get a piece of paper and write this point down or do a bit of speaking. And those were some of the most amazing moments for me. And that is what education is supposed to be. Not just a matter of like filling the bucket, but lighting the fire in the hearts, the minds, and the passions of the children that come to us. And just like Robert Hutchins said, that education is not to transform students or amuse them or make them expert technicians. It is to unsettle their minds, widen their horizons, inflame their intellects, and teach them to think straight, if possible. I therefore urge you, teachers, to continue to patiently nurture, challenge, and sharpen the young minds that come your way. At this point in time, I'd like to read to you a letter written by Abraham Lincoln to the son's teacher. It's a very, very powerful letter, and I thought at this special moment, why not share this? So this is how the letter goes. Dear teacher, my son starts school today. It's all going to be strange and new to him for a while, and I wish you would treat him gently. It is an adventure that will make him and take him across continents. All adventures that probably include wars, tragedy, and sorrow. To live this life will require faith, love, and courage. And he goes on, so dear teacher, will you take him by his hand and teach him things he will have to know, teaching him, but gently if you can. Teach him that for every enemy, there's a friend. Teach him that he will have to know that all men are not just, that all men are not true, but teach him also that for every scoundrel, there's a hero, that for every crooked politician, there's a dedicated leader. Teach him, if you can, that 10 cents earned is of far more value than $1 found. In school, teacher, it is far more honorable to fail than to cheat. Teach him to learn how to gracefully lose and enjoy winning when he does win. Teach him to be gentle with people and tough with tough people. Steer him away from envy if you can, and teach him the secret of quiet laughter. Teach him, if you can, how to laugh when he is sad. Teach him there's no shame in tears. Teach him that there can be glory in failure and despair in success. Teach him to scoff at cynics. Teach him, if you can, the wonders of books. But also give him time to ponder the extreme mystery of birds in the sky, bees in the sun, and flowers on a green hill. Teach him to have faith in his own ideas, even if everyone tells him they are wrong. Give my son the strength not to follow the crowd when everyone else is doing it. Teach him to listen to everyone, but teach him also to filter all that he hears on a screen of truth and take only the good that comes through. Teach him to sell his talents and brains to the highest bidder, but never to put a price tag on his heart and his soul. Teach him to have the courage to be impatient and let him have the patience to be brave. Teach him to have sublime faith in himself, because then he will always have sublime faith in mankind, in God. And he finishes the letter by saying, this is the order, teacher, but see what best you can do. He's such a nice little boy. He's my son. That's the end of the letter. So this letter may have been written by Abraham Lincoln, the 16th President of the United States of America, but this is also an earnest plea by every parent when they bring their children to school. That their children will get into a space where they will encounter men and women who will genuinely believe in their abilities to thrive and pursue that and push them to be able to be the best they can be. And to paraphrase the words of Albert Einstein, every child is a genius. But if you judge a fish by its ability to climb a tree, it will live its whole life knowing it was stupid. Never give up on any child. Like, I'm very sure, whenever exams results come out, Riara is always at the top. Why is that the case? I was here earlier and I saw how we were engaging, having conversations, the music session, which was really, really, really powerful. This is a family. And I'm very sure we succeed and get to amazing, great heights because we believe in every child that is brought to us. Even those who come from troubled backgrounds and have discipline issues, we never give up on them. And that is the hope and the wish that every parent has for their children. So I urge you, never ever give up on any child that comes in your hands, because you never know who you're grooming. You could be grooming the next Professor Edagashukia. You could be grooming the next Mandela, the next Wangari Maathai. You just never can tell. As I come closer to the end of my remarks, allow me to remind you something that is so present and something that you're so well aware of, that Kenya needs you teachers now more than ever before. And you may wonder why. Our country, our beloved country, is at a great crossroads right now. And despite the colossal potential that we have as a nation, we have a crisis of leadership. And this crisis of leadership is manifested in learning institutions, in the political space, in government, county government, national government, in community organizations, in the media, in practically every single space. There's a crisis of leadership. And I say that you are the answer because you mold generations. The great people we see out there would never have been there were it not for you, teachers. So the young people and the children that come into your hands, you are going to be shaping their minds for Kenya, to transform Kenya. And I'm sure you're aware, the soul of our nation is bleeding. And we have to be able to do something before it is too late. And I'm happy that Riara Group of Schools doesn't just focus on academic excellence. It focuses on the extracurricular activities that children can take part in. It focuses on growing and molding all-rounded students and individuals for society. Because truth be told, Kenya needs political leaders who are all about service and serving the people who elected them. And those political leaders will come from this institution. Kenya needs business leaders who will drive their businesses on ethics and integrity. Kenya needs parents who will choose to put everything else aside and be present, be actively present in the lives of their children, because that is all that matters. There are children out here who are in so much trouble because daddy and mommy are away, working hard, bringing all the money home, but never being there. So what matters is not the money, it's your presence as a parent. We need those parents. And those parents are the children, the pupils and the students that are in your hands. How do we pass on those values to them? We need professionals, lawyers, bankers, and all these other professionals who practice professional integrity. At the moment, we just have professionals who serve their own interests for the moment, not the interests of the nation at large. We need diplomats who will go out there prepared and ready to negotiate for Kenya and for Africa, but not just going out there to do shopping and to forget that, you know what, I have a nation that I'm representing. I have people, populations, 50 million and many other millions of people that I'm representing. We need those leaders. Where will they come from? And that's why Kenya desperately needs you teachers. Just take a moment and reflect on that. We have the national values, we have our national constitution, and the whole chapter about national values. We may not be living it out to the latter. We definitely need leaders who are driven by values such as character, integrity, excellence, and I'm so happy to see that excellence is one key factor for Riara Group of Schools. Just like an author by the name Norman Schwarzkopf said, leadership is a potent combination of strategy and character. But if you must be without one, then be without strategy. Character is everything. May God give us the courage, the wisdom, and the strength as leaders to raise that generation of active, civically aware, and responsible citizens for Kenya. Year after year, Riara Group of Schools is always at the top. I never quite took time to interact with the institution to ask why and how come. What is it about the organizational culture that makes this institution always getting to the top? But like I've said, I've interacted with the teachers and I see the spirit, I see the passion, I see the will, I see you are on fire, and that's what we need as a society. And I celebrate you. I genuinely, from the bottom of my heart, celebrate you. I don't know where we would be without teachers, and teachers who have a calling, not just a job or a career, but the teaching is a calling, it's a vocation. And today I wish to honor two champions. All of you here are champions, but I wish to take this chance to just honor two champions who saw the value of education, and with the little they had about 45 years ago, decided to put together this institution, the Riara Group of Schools. It takes effort, it takes sacrifice, it takes sleepless nights, but they put this together, and right now, Riara Group of Schools is not just kindergarten, primary, high school, we also have a university. And so on behalf of Emerging Leaders Foundation and my own behalf, I kindly wish to call upon Mr. And Mrs. Gashukia to come to the front. So these flowers represent life that these two individuals and the other directors have actually put in place to just make sure that Kenya is different, that Kenya changes, that children, pupils, and students that go through Riara come out all rounded. So that is what this represents. And we have a few other little gifts from Emerging Leaders Foundation. Let me just come and present to them. We would also like to make a commitment as Emerging Leaders Foundation. In our own small way, we would like to extend 6 scholarships to the top 3 girls and top 3 boys who will be transitioning from high school to university to join the Emerging Leaders Foundation Leadership Development and Mentorship Program. And finally, teachers are superheroes. We celebrate you. I celebrate you. Never tire of doing good. It's never in vain. I'm sure you've already begun seeing some of the results of the works of your hands. Teaching is by far the most noble profession on earth. Thank you so much, and God bless you.